I am a 22-year-old woman. I reside in a brand new apartment complex on the outskirts of town. In general, my city is rather secure. This is my first time living alone, so even though it's a secure neighborhood, I took certain measures, like installing a Ring video doorbell. I've honestly never needed it in the 6 months I've been here, since there haven't been any unexpected visits until last night, when I was at home alone with my dog working on schoolwork. It was about 8 p.m., and it was becoming dark outside. I had my Ring programmed to notify me if someone approached my door. I got a motion detection alert at my door, but I didn't think much of it. People were still wandering along the corridors upstairs around 8 p.m. After around 30 seconds, I heard numerous hard bangs on my door and my Ring was pressed 3 times quickly. At this point, I'm terrified and my dog is freaking out. When I opened the app, there were 2 guys waiting outside my door. I pondered whether or not to open the door, but concluded that because it wasn't quite dark yet and my neighbors were home, it would be okay to do so. So I carefully opened my door, just enough for my head to poke out. The guy closest to me mentioned a reef committee and complimented my reef. He went on to claim that he worked for an online firm and that he and his partner had come to give me a bargain. My flats now have a rigorous no-tolerance policy for any form of solicitation. We are instructed to report such activities promptly. There are also signs all throughout the place warning that soliciting is illegal. I had assured the guys that I was content with my existing service and had no plans to change. The guy who spoke initially proceeded to extol the benefits of their proposition. I kept going downhill. He kept stating that he lived nearby and would be delighted to personally set up the service. He even offered to come inside and assist me right away. I denied his offer once again, and he stressed that if I changed my mind, I should phone him because he could be here in 5 minutes to help me out. And he handed me a business card, and I attempted to stop the discussion once more. He then informs me that he can't simply walk away knowing that I could receive such a good bargain and that I'm turning it down. My instincts are telling me something is wrong at this point. I decided to be more direct and asked him if he was aware that my flats had a strict no-soliciting policy. He said that he was aware, but that he had cleared it with management. My apartment has a tiny management staff, and I know each and every one of them. When I asked who he cleared it with, he replied it was the men on the golf cart, Mike and Will, and that Mike was a terrific man. I realized it was all a lie now. Our executive staff is entirely comprised of women, and there is no one called Mike or Will. In fact, the only guy who works here is Joe. I thank you, but I'm not interested, and I shut and locked the door loudly. I examined the business card he provided me more closely. It had a logo in the name he gave me, but the email address was not a commercial email address. It was a Yahoo account. When I searched up the company's phone number, it didn't display either. I choose to share my experience on the residents-only Facebook page. A couple more ladies reported having similar conversations tonight, but being given other names. The weird thing was that no males or couples were contacted. Only women were approached. They exclusively communicated with women. They conversed with my upstairs neighbor and my neighbor across the hall, both of whom are female, but not with either of the males who live on the same level as me. Everyone was given various names and given wildly different bargains. 2 ladies were informed that they lacked business cards to distribute. I decided to look up the guy's name on Google to see what came up. The second outcome was an offender registry report. It turns out that the individual I talked with at my door has 5 felonies and has spent time in prison for a variety of offenses, including drug trafficking, controlled substance theft by fraud, and possession of stolen items. I recognized him since the article included a photograph of him. He is now on probation until November. I'm not sure whether I'm overthinking this, since it's my first time going through anything like this, but it didn't seem right. Maybe I'm being too dramatic or paranoid, but something doesn't seem quite right. I'm not sure whether they were simply fraudsters, if they were following locations to rob, or, worst of all, if I reported this to the property manager who is looking into it today, but I'm just a little concerned about the entire situation. If they come back, I'll contact the cops.